gives me great pleasure to introduce our next candidate. Please welcome Tina Cahill.
Hi, how's everyone? Thank you for having us tonight and bringing us together. I appreciate the opportunity to speak about my candidacy. And welcome to my office, which is a closet office that was renovated just for the pandemic. Thank you for having us, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Perfect. So sorry, in case you weren't here when the start, you get about 2 minutes to make an opening statement. Then we'll answer as many questions as we can in the 11 minutes that follow, and you'll get 1 minute for a closer. So if you'd like to make an opening statement now,
I would. So I guess, people ask me when I'm out on the campaign trail why I decided to run for school committee. And I like to tell people that at this point in my life, I feel as though I have the background and the experience to be able to contribute in a positive manner. I'm running because I think that it's important that we understand that we have to represent everyone, students, parents, faculty, administration, and especially the citizens of Quincy. We should represent everyone equally when we're on the school committee, because of the importance that the system has for all of us, not just our students, but I think the community as a whole. I am a parent. First of all, I'm a lifelong resident of the city. I was, my parents, Lucy and Tony Falco, immigrants from Italy, and they chose Quincy to settle. With that, I think that gives me a perspective on what it's like to be an immigrant family, a student, and even parents, being able to navigate a new culture. And that's why I think I bring a little bit of, not that all of the candidates don't, but I have an experience that allows me to see those students in a different light that I can relate to. I'm married to Tina Cahill, and we are the parents of 4 daughters, all of whom went through the Quincy public system. They all got an amazing education here that we were really proud of in the city. They went on to college and did very well. They were prepared and they had the foundation that they needed, and subsequently has carried over into their professional career. And I think that has a lot to do with the foundation that they received in the younger years in their education. I also spent 30 years, close to 30 years experience teaching and an administrator in education. I taught at St. Anne's School in Wollaston, and I ran their after school program for a while. I was the director of their after school program. And then I went on to administration at Archbishop Williams High School and subsequently at Quincy College. And I think what the teaching piece was amazing. It was probably one of my best careers in my life, being in a classroom with students. And that also gave me an understanding of how all students are different. They all have different needs, academic, physical, emotional. And as a teacher, people who are in the classroom, I think it's important that we support the faculty, because they have to encompass all of that in a classroom, and it can make it challenging for them sometimes. In the administration side, I think my experience comes into play because I also understand that there are places where we cannot, things that maybe we would like to see changed or make a difference with. Sometimes there are mandates, accreditation, licensing, budgeting, things that are beyond our control that we can't always change at a whim. And being in the administration side, I think it's bringing a practical viewpoint to how do we make things change? How do we collaborate with all the stakeholders to be effective? And that being parents, students, faculty, administration, and bringing all those pieces together so that we're effective. I have a bachelor's degree in elementary education. I have a master's degree in higher ed administration. And beyond the academic side of things, I also have been really active in the community. For 7 years, I was on the Thomas Crane Public Library Board. I also was the past president of their foundation, which we reinstated to be able to take donations so that we could support some of the programming of the library. And I also was the past president of the Quincy College Trust. And what we did there was we collected donations to be able to offer scholarships to students who maybe needed some financial support to further their education. So with all of that, I felt like this was a good time for me to be able to contribute and give back to, I don't want to say give back, but to be able to contribute to our school system and to the city. Because I think that if we have a vibrant school system, we have a vibrant city. We have young families that are moving in, and it keeps us, again, vibrant and forward moving as a city as well. So that's my reasons for running. And if you have any questions, I'm open.
Candidate Cahill, this is Joe Murphy, and I have the first question for you.
Hi, Joe.
What are your priorities for the Quincy school system in the coming year?
I think this year, well, I wouldn't, if elected, I wouldn't be on the committee until I think January is when they have the inauguration. And part of the school year already would have been in place. But I think what's really important for us to do is to address the learning loss of students during the past year. I know plenty of parents who have had children that they're really concerned about, what they lost last year when they were home. And I also think the, reentry into school and the anxiety that some kids are feeling going back to school, maybe feeling like they're not prepared or being back with their peers. Those are things that I think we need to look at. I know that the school system is going to be getting American Rescue Act funds, I think for 3 years, and that would be a good way to tap into some of that money so that we could pay for some programs or tutoring, counseling that can help kids who maybe are struggling to get back into the rhythm of school. I also would like to be involved in the new learning center that they're building where the old Eastern Nazarene is on Old Colony Ave. I think that's a great initiative for keeping our students in our home school system. Kids, I believe it's kids with autism and who are usually sent to schools outside of the city. So I think it's really nice to have them back here and offer them that opportunity to stay home. I also am really interested in the early college program that they're initiating. I think that's also a great program for students who are kind of on the fence and don't really know if they want to go to college or if they're being identified as students who maybe could use that push, and gives them a little bit of a feeling of what it's like to take some courses at the college level. And my background at the college, I was there for almost 6 years. I think that I could be helpful there. So those I think are just some of the things that I think that would be interesting coming up this year. The other thing I think that would be really impactful is to make sure that we're giving the students and the faculty and staff some professional development as in regard to digital learning platforms, making sure that they're, have good experiences and can use the technology so that if we're in situations, because I think digital learning is probably only going to progress, and maybe even when kids get older in a college setting, they'll have that background that can help them. Even in the workplace, will help them to be more comfortable with digital platforms. So that would be a lot, but that's, I think, interesting for me.
Hi. All right, Tina, this is Michael Berry, and I have the second question. It's kind of a follow-up. You mentioned some of your priorities. The question is, why and how did you select those as your issues or priorities?
Well, I think I chose the early college because I know that we were jumping into that in the school system. And again, it's something that my background, I think I could give an experienced voice and help to roll that out. The Learning Center, I think, is an important piece because I feel if you have a student who has special needs or special, learning needs, that I like for them to stay in the community and not have to be sent to another community and spend the day traveling, not being with their peers. So that I think is really interesting. As far as the learning loss and the social, economic, emotional piece, I've heard from a lot of parents, friends, people reaching out to me outside of the school committee race to ask for some advice on how to help their kids repeat somewhere, go to a different school, finding ways to, they're really, parents are stressed out about, helping their students with that year behind them. And I think even emotionally, I know some parents who, I know a senior in high school and a student that's in second grade that are really having a hard time jumping back in. So those are the reasons why I picked those areas, because I think they're real. And there are things that we need to address to make sure that kids get back up to speed.
Okay, question number 3.
Hi, Tina. This is David Jacobs.
Hi, David.
How you doing?
Good.
In your own words, and I'm sure you've gotten a lot of this in the door, but in your own words, can you define what critical race theory is as it relates to education? Can critical race theory be beneficial to our students? Why do you think it would be or would not be beneficial to Quincy students?
I think critical race theory is very complicated. Again, I think if you asked probably 90 out of 100 people, they wouldn't even know what it means. I tried to listen to a lot of different podcasts and read up a little bit on it. And what I understand of it is it's more about government policy, business policies, different practices that have gone on in history that have been put in place to marginalize people. And, be it in banking or I don't even, it's really complicated. I can't even pick out different pieces, but what I understand, it's more of an academic and legal framework that even people that are super educated delving into it find it kind of complicated. So in regard to K through 12, I don't know that I think it's something we should be introducing, but I don't really understand it 100%. I think that from my own perspective, if it was me, I think that as a school system, it's really important for us to be teaching kids fundamentals, how to read, how to write, how to decipher information. And if we're giving them the tools they need to go forward, when they become adults or college students or, getting to the next level in their education, it's something they want to delve into, then, hopefully we've given them the tools to be able to figure out the information that's put in front of them. So, and I think it's a lot to consume and to understand. So that's kind of where I stand right now on that.
Okay, Tina, just to give you an idea of your time, you have about 2 minutes left, 1 minute of which should be used for closing remarks. So would you like to field another question really quick or just go right into a closing statement?
I'm sorry, did you say 2 minutes left?
Yes, about a little bit less.
I'll take another. I feel like this is Jeopardy, but I'll take another question. I'll take 500 for education.
Well, this one's about money, really.
Okay.
How would you intend to balance the needs of taxpayers with those of our school children?
The taxpayers with the needs of our school children. Well, I think the taxpayers, we're paying for our whole community as a whole. I do understand. It was interesting because I was out one night and I saw a woman and we were talking about, actually, it was right after the primary. And one woman said, I voted for you, you did great, and whatever. And the other woman said, oh, I didn't vote. And I go, you didn't vote? And she said, well, I don't have kids in the school system. And so we had a little bit of a discussion. And I think the school system, like I said in the beginning, is if we have a strong school system, young families, I was up at Porch Fest and there were so many, young families. I was talking to different people up there. And there were a couple of people that have been living here their whole lives like me. And they were so happy because a couple of the houses turned over and there were young families that were moving in and they bought property and they're keeping them beautiful. And I just think that, and then one of the reasons being, if you're a young family, you're going to look and say, hey, how's the school system? And I really do believe that our school system is a good school system. We have beautiful facilities. We're making upgrades all the time. We have young teachers. We have families who are engaged. Are we perfect? Nothing's perfect, right? So all we can do is continue to work and hope that we're doing the best we can. And with that, I think that, so I said to the woman, your property values, your neighborhood, your city is better because we have a better school system. So I just said, so you better vote on November 2nd, and I'm gonna check and make sure that you voted. And, but I think that, again, in retro, comprehensively, I think it's just important for us as a city that we have a good system. And that's where our tax money goes, so.
All
that
right.
would be- Yep,
Sorry to cut you off, Tina, but
That's
time
okay.
for, we're at about time. So it's, if you'd like to give your closing statement, that'd be terrific.
yeah, I think, as I started in the beginning, when people ask why I'm running for school committee, I said, I'm running to represent students, parents, faculty, administration, the citizens of Quincy equally. And I think my experience as a parent, a teacher, and administrator, and lifelong Quincy resident, it just allows me to bring a comprehensive, fiscally sound perspective to the school committee. I'll work really hard to ensure that all our students receive the education that they deserve, and that it's positive and productive. Again, because I do believe that a strong and vibrant school system gives us a strong and vibrant Quincy. I respectfully ask for your vote on November 2nd. I don't like to make promises, but I do promise that I will work really hard to research what's put in front of us, collaborate with our colleagues and all the stakeholders, and hopefully bring, some resolutions to the table that are effective for everyone. So I ask for your vote on November 2nd, and I